What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel for the next episode in the My Team series. This is episode 3, and today I'm joined by a man who has come in the top 5k in FPL 4 times in the past. It is, of course, FPL expert FPL Salah. Pleasure to have you back on, my friend. You were a regular on the channel last year. You're going to be a regular once again this year, and I'm very interested to see if your current draft is going to compare, or how it's going to compare to the guests that we've had on before. Big man Bakar, and also last year's FPL champion Jonas.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, Jack. I'm excited now. I always enjoy the breaks. You know, you need them. After like a long season. But yeah, now I'm just kind of starting to get excited. Can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good season. Me and Abdul were just talking off screen about how the prices this year we think are way better. It's going to make the game a lot more interesting than perhaps previous years. And yeah, as always, we are going to build your team, your current draft, position by position, and see how it compares to other guests that we've had on the channel. Obviously, building this, as always, on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool. And that's going to give us a predicted points for Gameweek 1 and also an overall team rating percentage. If you guys haven't seen the other episodes in this series so far, go ahead and after this one, have a look at them and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any in the future. Okay, Abdul, let's get into it. Who is in goal this year? As it stands, by the way. I mean, we're still quite a way away from Gameweek 1.
Yeah, as it stands, there's a lot of kind of unknowns just now. But the two keepers I've got are Sanchez and Henderson.
Okay.
So I did originally have Sanchez and Verbruggen because it's Chelsea and Brighton rotate really well. But Verbruggen's injured and he's apparently out for 6 weeks. So Henderson and Sanchez rotate totally fine. Two 4.5 keepers. And from what I've heard from like Chelsea fans, and you probably tell me more about this as well, that Sanchez is the favourite to start under the new manager because apparently he likes goalkeepers who are kind of good on the ball, which Sanchez is. But I guess we'll find out more in the preseason games. But right now they're the two goalkeepers. If it looks like Sanchez is going to be a doubt, then obviously I'd change him out. But that's the two right now.
Yeah, interestingly, right now both the keepers you've suggested have 0 predicted points. I think that's because, as you said, we don't really know too much about whether one's going to start, whether one's not going to at this moment in time. In terms of Sanchez, yeah, I think that he probably is going to start the season. I think there's actually rumours that Petrovic is going to be sold, which
all right, okay.
I'm not behind that at all. Personally, I don't rate Sanchez as a goalkeeper in terms of making saves and just claiming crosses, that sort of stuff. I think he's very poor. Yeah, he's good with his feet, but surely there's more to being a goalkeeper than just being able to pass. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Henderson, though, how come you think he's going to start?
Well, again, just speaking to Palace fans, and last season as well, he started under the new manager. But again, I just think with that is these are things that we'll very likely know before game week 1. You look at preseason games because the managers, especially the goalkeepers, are going to start the keeper that they're going to plan to start at the start of the season. So, yeah, I'm pretty certain that Henderson will be number 1. If he's not, again, if it's Johnston, he's 4.5 million as well. So yeah, I'll go with him.
And how come you're going with 2 4.5 million rotating keepers?
I just think there's value there. I think with Sanchez, good value at 4.5, and there's a lot of other good, like there's Flecken and the Southampton keeper McCarthy, who are good at rotating. I was going to include them, but there's a lot of 4.5 million goalkeepers who rotate well and are quite good value. Whereas we don't really have any. At the moment anyway, not any, like potential starting 4.0 million goalkeepers. I think our best bet is probably, could be Danny Ward for Leicester. Fabianski probably only gets a shout in if, Ariel gets injured. But we haven't really got that this season. So I think I'll go with the 4.5 keepers.
Got you. Now, interestingly, looking at the predicted points here of all the goalkeepers below 5 million, Johnston is top and Petrovic is second with 15 and 14 points. So that's suggesting that, whichever keeper is starting for that defense is a very good pick. Okay, let's move on to the defenders now.
Yeah, so I'll go for the obvious one. I think Trent. I just think he's great value at 7 million. He's dropped at 1 million in value, Jack, and I think he had one bad season, right? And he was injured for quite a bit as well. But if you look at his, previous seasons before that, I was looking at his kind of career stats. He's got 25 goals and 85 assists over his career, which is, phenomenal for a defender. You know what I mean? So I think he's worth it. I mean, who knows? Is Arne Slot, new manager, how he's going to play, what system they're going to play. It's anyone's guess. But I just think, looking at his kind of his past history, he's going to be in there at 7 million. And if you look at Liverpool's fixtures to start the season, they don't get much better. Like those first 7 games are just, kind of the best games you can kind of ask for, really. So he's kind of nailed in my game week one team for sure.
I mean, yeah, just looking at those home fixtures, not that Trent needs a home fixture to do well,
Mhm.
but they're
Yeah,
just so
Ipswich game week
good.
one, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
What a team.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he's definitely worth the risk. I mean, he had a bad season, yeah, but I guess I can only see him getting better rather than worse.
I'm trying to work out personally why I'm not so hot on him, and I think it's just because I'm not. Maybe I'm just forgetting because of when he didn't. Yeah, obviously wasn't in good form, and the whole Liverpool team wasn't in great form. I'm just
Yeah,
forgetting how good he can be when they're on it. A lot of people are saying that with the new manager, last year his right back was extremely involved, very attacking, got a lot of goals and
yeah.
assists, which is it's true. But I think it doesn't matter who the manager is when you have someone like Trent. They're going to build their sort of creative system around a player like that you'd expect anyway. So I think yeah, that's only gonna benefit Trent. But
He's on like set pieces and everything as well, so he's got so
exactly,
many avenues to points. I think that kind of positional switch to midfield last season as well maybe hampered him a bit. He wasn't as I think the right back spot kind of suits him more, and I think FPL wise he's better there as well.
yeah, okay. Who's next to him?
Guardiol. So again, tail end of last season, I missed out on all his points last season. You got
Yeah,
like 4 goals and 2 assists from game week 33 onwards. I mean, I don't see any reason why Pep's going to change the system now and you're not play him at left back. Seeing how good he is there. Again, if there is one guy that is just going to randomly drop somebody like Guardiola, it's going to be Pep Guardiola. But I'm fairly certain up until Champions League time, Guardiola will be fine. And City are City in terms of defence and attack, and he's got both kind of goal and assist to it, and the clean sheets are there as well. So again, he's another one who's going to be totally nailed in my team.
yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, and the third defender.
Yeah, so I've gone for Saliba. I did originally have Gabriel.
Okay,
But again, there's been kind of speaking to Arsenal fans and things online. And Julian Timber's back. They've signed Calafiori. A bit of a doubt there at least. I think Gabriel will still be first choice, but the doubt is there. And then I think you've got Saliba who is like super nailed and the same price. So maybe it's probably just not worth the risk. But again, let's see preseason. Let's see how Arteta sets up. But even saying that, even if Gabriel starts all the preseason games, there is a chance, kind of later on down the line,
yeah.
he gets dropped in one game, and the defense is the one place you don't want to be making transfers. So I want my defense to be like kind of glue guys that I'm just going to leave there, and well, like kind of not for the rest of the season, but for as long as the first wild card at least, just keep them there, don't transfer them out. So I think Saliba has more chance of being that guy.
I mean, to be fair, like you say, not for the season. Those three could easily just be set and forget for the whole year. You
Yeah,
could play them in pretty much any
essentially.
fixture. They could do well at any moment. Do you reckon there's a little bit of thinking about sort of the start of last year with Gabriel, where he was just out of the blue dropped? And not saying that's going to happen again, but that isn't going to happen with Saliba. Whereas we've seen there is a slight, a small chance, but a slight chance that something can happen with the other defenders in the team.
Yeah. Yeah, and we know like Gabriel is sorry, Saliba is their best defender, right?
Yeah,
Certainly best centre back. So we know that he is nailed. And yeah, you're right. I remember reading a lot of rumors about the Gabriel stuff, like potential move to Saudi and things like that, which was potentially the cause. But yeah, we don't know the actual reason, but we do know that he was dropped. So that should be enough reason, to be honest, just to go with Saliba.
okay, let's continue on with the defense then.
Yeah, so my fourth defender is Konsa. I think he's great value. For Aston Villa, 4.5 million nailed. Villa, have a decent defense. They were top six and top seven, like for goals. Like for defensive stats, goals conceded and XGC. So just against a great value pick. Is there and for emergencies. If something happens to one of my players, misses out, etc. He's a great option to have on the bench. And my fifth defender is Harwood Bellis, 4
Okay.
million. So I've gone for a 4 million playing defender, mostly just to kind of save the funds, kind of to pump the rest of the money into the kind of starting 11. But it's always good to have that 4 million defender who is going to start. And he looks totally nailed. Because I think Southampton just signed him on a permanent deal now from Man City after being on loan. So he looks nailed. I think he got 2 goals and what 7 assists or something like that last season in the championship. So he's got a bit of attacking threat as well. Obviously not planning to play him, but Southampton do have some good fixtures earlier on. So again, if he's needed, he's right there.
Yeah, I like that. I don't see a lot of people talking about him, and a lot of people are looking for a potential 4 million defender that might start the season. If he's nailed as you say, then yeah, I could see a lot of people potentially going with him. So yeah, that's the defense. It looks very, very strong. A lot of money in it.
Yeah.
Are you happy then to be playing sort of Guardiola Chelsea away? Would you start him in that game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I think, I think City and even probably Arsenal now are one of those teams who are kind of like fixture proof, where
Yeah.
I just think, they've got the potential to keep a clean sheet and score, multiple goals against any team in the league. So yeah, he's a fixture proof player for me. So he'll be starting, probably every game I have him really.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. So far, I like it a lot. I think it's a nice balance, but I've seen a few teams where I think there've been a bit too much money spread out in defence across five
Mm,
players. I'm not 100% sure if I can get on board with that. I'm going to ask you a little bit later about your thoughts on rolling transfers now being able to do
yeah.
five. But for now, let's move on to the midfield. Who have you got there?
So I'll go with the main guy, Mo Salah.
He is back.
So
Now we
he's
talked
back.
about this last year. We said
Yeah,
that this might be. I think it was Gameweek 38. I think we discussed that it might be the last time you ever have Salah
yeah,
in your team. And
yeah.
I saw tears in your eyes at that moment. But he's
Well,
back.
he's back, yeah. So I got him in the final game week as well, but you let me down.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but anyway, all is forgiven. New season. But yeah, I think it's a tough one between Salah and Haaland, whether to go both, whether to go one. But I've got Salah in there for now. I think again, same as Trent, Liverpool fixtures are absolutely phenomenal. He's a good captain shout for a lot of the first 10 game weeks. So he's pretty much a shoe-in for now. I guess I won't say he's 100% nailed. In case I decide to go Haaland instead, but we'll see. For now, I think it's probably about 9%, 90% chance I'll go with Salah.
Okay, who's next to him?
I got Saka.
Do
So
you?
next midfielder I've got is Saka. I just think, I mean, if you look at Arsenal's fixtures in the first 10, right, it's like a definition of a mixed bag of fixtures. They've got the first game they got Wolves at home, then they got Villa away, then Brighton at home, then they got Spurs and Man City away, but then they got Southampton and Leicester at home. So like, and then they've got Liverpool and Newcastle. So there's some really, really good fixtures in there. But then, they play like some of the toughest teams in the league, like in their first 10 games, like
Yeah,
Aston Villa, Spurs, Man City, and Liverpool. And Newcastle probably say like after Arsenal are the best teams in the league, probably finish up there in the top six. So really hard fixtures in there, but amazing fixtures as well, like with Leicester and Southampton at home. And I think even in those tough fixtures, I think there's going to be goals in that game, like with Spurs away. That's going to be like, I think, high scoring game. Villa away, probably a high scoring game. So I really like their attack in the first 10, even though the fixtures, on paper are tough. I would be a bit more wary about their defense. But I still think, again, it's like one of those where it's like the defense was so, like, they're just by far the best defense last season. Not only like, the best, they kept 5 more clean sheets than City. They kept 18 clean sheets, 5 more than City, who were in second. They had like their XGC was like 28, which was like 5 more, five less than City. So they're just an absolute elite defense.
yeah,
So I'm happy to go with Saliba despite the fixtures.
yeah. Okay. In terms of Saka's potential minutes at the start of the season, do you think there's any risk that he might not be in the team at all, or might get subbed early? I'm just thinking, with City and Pep, we often see him rest
Mm.
players that have gone deep into tournaments, and obviously Saka went to the final. I guess there is the Olympics in between, in which quite a few players might be playing. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think he's nailed on to just be back to the same Saka we've always known, 90 minutes or
I think
around that
so.
sort of time?
I think knowing Mikel Arteta, yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's going to like flog him to till the end. But again, I just think it's so early just now, and I think if that is the case, we'll have a very good idea of it. Whether he's back in training, the press conferences. But of course, if he's going to be a doubt, then I'll it's risky to start with him. But right now, I do think he'll start. I don't think Arteta's going to give him any time off. I think he's going to be straight in there
yeah.
game one. And yeah, great option on penalties, and I think the fixtures are good for him.
Okay, who's your next midfielder?
I've gone for Nkunku. So he was actually
Nice.
one of the first names on my team sheet, I'll be honest.
Wow.
6.5 million midfielder. He wasn't great last season, but he didn't get much of a chance. And I don't see, I think he was 7.5 last season. I don't think, the 1 million drop is justified, seeing that he only started like a handful of games. So I just think if he starts, I mean, I'm not expecting him to play like 90 minutes every week, but I do think he'll be, a first team regular. Even getting like 75 minutes per week, for that price. And I think Chelsea's fixtures, barring game week 1, they've got a fantastic run. From
Yeah.
game week 2 to game week 7, it's like, amazing. A new manager, who knows, could be like a new manager bounce, but I think Nkunku is great value at 6.5.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think if he does stay injury free, he's going to make a mockery of that price, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think people are quick to forget what he did the season before, where he was, yeah, one of the best players in the Bundesliga. So yeah, we
Yeah.
know what he can do. And it looked, to be honest, as the back end of last year, he was coming into form and he looked confident again, confident with his body, and yeah, was doing his thing. And hopefully, as a Chelsea fan, can see more of that this season. Okay, who's your fourth midfielder?
Gone for Eze.
Nice.
So Eze is the fourth midfielder. I think actually Elise going makes him like a better FPL option. I think obviously as a team, Palace will suffer like kind of going forward, but I think he'll have more of like the goals and assist share. I think he'll, for sure be on penalties now. He'll take over set pieces, which Elise had before him, and he's only 7 million. And Oliver Glasner has, got that team playing, some really good football. We've seen at the end of last season when he took over, they were great. I think he scored about 19 points in like the final game week of the season, so he's got big hauls in him. So Eze is a player that I'm really excited about. If he stays at Palace, then he's in there for sure. He's another one who's kind of nailed in my team, I'd say.
Okay, and then your fifth midfielder.
Fifth is Harry Winks. So nothing
Okay,
exciting.
nice.
He's just a 90-minute man. He started 45 games in the season, in the championship last season. So started every single game. I think he played like something like 4,000 odd minutes in the league. So I mean, he's like the definition of nailed. And again, for a 4.5 million midfielder, he's someone you want on your bench to come in case of emergencies. Totally fine.
I say nice, by the way. I'm not like saying, oh wow, what a great pick, Harry Winks. I'm more interested in the fact that you're not going for five midfielders and therefore not going for 8 playing attackers. And we'll talk about that at the end. But
Yeah, well, yeah, let's speak about
that's
that.
why I like it, because it's you're putting your money into your first 11, which is what we tend to say is the best thing to do. But there's a little bit of a difference in opinion this year just because of transfers and being able to be a little bit more patient. But as I said, we'll get into that. Let's finish off the team first. So who have you got up front?
So I'll go for the first two. I've got Watkins and Isaac. I think again these guys are pretty much nailed in my team. So you obviously know now that I'm not going to have Haaland in my team. I can
Yeah.
have right now. But Watkins and Isaac will be there for sure if I don't go for Haaland. They're just fantastic options, great starts, especially Isaac. If he stays fit, I can see a huge season for him. Just such a good player. He's getting better every season as well. Wilson will probably be out for the start of the season, which makes him, kind of
Okay.
nailing on penalties as well. So yeah, two great options that I don't think I need to kind of, I think everyone knows, what they offer.
Well, I want to ask you about Watkins, just because this is his first appearance on the series on the channel this year, which sounds crazy given he had such an amazing season last year. But
Mhm.
Isak is one that I think is going to be in a lot of teams.
Ye-
The vast majority of teams, to be honest. I think he's just
Yeah.
he's a little bit cheaper than Watkins, and yeah, I mean he has phenomenal fixtures. But Watkins, why do you think we're not seeing him in loads and loads and loads of teams? He's obviously 9 million now, but
Mhm.
yeah. So for example, the FPL winners team last year so far doesn't have Watkins in. Bakar's team, no Watkins. Why have you gone for him?
I just think Villa have got good fixtures earlier on, and I guess there's a good chance he'll be on penalties, with Douglas Luiz away. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing really,
It's a
but
bad thing, man. He's so bad at
he
penalties.
has
He's so
penalties. But
bad at them.
yeah, but I mean, surely he's kind of, especially going away to England training. Surely he's been practicing them.
You'd hope so. Yeah.
You hope so, yeah. So I just think for me, he was quite an obvious pick, honestly. He was one
Yeah.
of the first in my team sheet. I just thought, looking at his fixtures, barring Arsenal in game week 2, they've got a really good run up until, game week 9. Really good fixtures. Villa are fantastic attacking wise, and he's a player like that. He's just so well rounded. Like, you got 19 goals and 18 assists last season, which is like insane. Almost like 40 attacking returns. He's one of those players who's just a perfect FPL player. He's got goals, assists, 90-minute man, and now he might actually be on penalties as well.
Yeah, I feel a bit silly asking that question, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. He's not in my team, for example, at the moment. I don't know if that might
Right.
change, but
I mean, like, saying all those things, it all depends on where you spend your money. I
yeah,
mean, if you're, going for a 3-5-2 and with Foden instead of, for example, like a Watkins, then, it's justifiable. And I think that's what is great about this season is you've said it already yourself, like there's three guests come on, all completely different teams. And when you look on the Twitter timeline as well, you just see so many different teams because you just can't get all the main guys in like you have in previous seasons.
yeah,
So good on FPL for the pricing.
absolutely. And one thing that is common actually between all three of your teams is the fact that Haaland isn't in any of them.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Are you scared?
I would say I'm scared of Gameweek 2 against Ipswich for
Yeah,
sure. But I don't know. I just think like I've tried to build a team with Haaland in it and to build a team with Haaland and Salah in it as well. And I have made drafts I think which are okay, but I just think there's just too many sacrifices, for 15 million. And kind of just looking at, being able to have, Watkins, Isaac, Saka, and Salah, which is not possible in a Haaland team. So yeah, it's just one of those where I think I've kind of came to the conclusion that it's probably a bit too kind of sacrificing to actually get both Salah and Haaland. I think one of them is enough. And I think with Salah being like 2.5 million cheaper, I think for me he's just clear at the moment.
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense to me. Okay, let's finish things off, and then let's see how the team is looking.
So I've gone for this. I did have João Pedro in there, but again there was rumors of his injury, broken rib or something like that.
Okay.
If he's fit, I mean he is 100% in my team at 5.5 million. Looks absolutely phenomenal value. But right now I've got Armstrong. I think he's probably the next best. He's again another 90-minute man, nailed to start. Will be on penalties as well. And I'm not expecting him to score 20 goals this season, but I think he'll provide kind of good value, and he's got a few good fixtures to start the season as well. So yeah, let's see, let's see. I'm really hoping like Pedro is fit because if he isn't, I will be very hesitant about starting the season with Armstrong. I might even like
Yeah.
go down to 4.5 million and put Winks up to like a 5.5 million mid, like Alanga, one of these guys, possibly Hudson-Odoi. I've not really looked at the 5.5 mids yet, but there are some good options there.
Yeah, I have a 5.5 million mid in my team and Haaland as well. And the overall balance I don't think is as good as yours at all. But no, it's yeah. Obviously there are benefits and drawbacks to having certain players at certain price points in your team. Actually, I'm going to be doing the next video on this channel is going to be my team, which has
Nice.
Haaland and Salah. Little spoiler, but
Oh,
yeah, make sure you subscribe so you see that. I will say it's
I'd like to see that actually. I'm going to see.
yeah, you can see. You can see. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts in the comments down below. But now for your team, this is it. And I don't think you're going to be very happy with the team rating
Oh, no.
percentage or the predicted points, but there are a lot of reasons why it's not as strong as you probably would expect, and as strong as it may well be as we get closer to Game Week 1, as the players that you've chosen their
Mhm.
predicted minutes increase.
Yeah.
It's 85% team rating.
I think you said the two goalkeepers were at a 0, weren't they?
Exactly.
So,
So let me walk you through it. The two goalkeepers are at 0, and Nkunku's super low.
oh, right, is he?
Yeah,
Wow.
just because we can't. It's not really. You can't like guess at what a player is going to do. It has to. This has to use sort of data and
Exactly, yes. I guess so, yeah, yeah.
so it can't,
Yeah,
yeah.
put Johnson in goal then instead of Henderson. And
Okay,
then,
I will do that.
let's
Johnston
see.
goes in.
And then Sanchez at 0 as well.
Sanchez is at 0.
So who's is Petrovic the one who?
Yeah,
So do Petrovic and Johnson. I think that'll give you a more true reflection of the rating.
that is fair. Right, I'll do that. Click make transfers, optimize team, and now yeah, just doing that, it shoots up to a 90% team rating.
I'll take that for the first draft. I'll take
Yeah,
that.
which is much more solid, and yeah, only
Yeah.
doing you're going to have the playing keepers from those teams anyway. So I think you're right. That is a much more realistic, more realistic,
definitely
team rating. Predicted points of 62.2, and I've got to say as well, this is with Nkunku bench for Konza, which you wouldn't do.
Right, okay, it really doesn't rate Nkunku, does it?
It's just the expected minutes right now with no data to go on.
I think if we see Nkunku starting in the preseason friendlies, then that will increase. So
yes, it will, 100%.
Let's see.
But yeah, for now, 62.2 predicted points. Would you be happy with that game week 1?
Yeah, I guess if the average was like 20 or 30, then yeah, be very happy with that.
Okay. Yeah. Which we often see from Game Week 1, an average that low. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, that puts you second in the leaderboard, behind last year's winner, but importantly, in front of Bakar.
Yeah. That's the main thing.
Okay. Well, that is the team for now, guys. If you would like to try and beat FPL Salah's team, it's very, very simple to do. All you got to do is go down, click the link in the description or the pinned comment. Make sure you have a screenshot of your team on your phone, on your browser, whatever. And then just upload the screenshot. And that's all you got to do. The AI is so good now that you don't have to put in a player position by position. Just do that. It takes 5 seconds, as you can see on screen. And there you go. You'll have your team rating and you'll see how it compares to Abdul's. And after that, you can take advantage of what we're going to do now, which is AI transfers. If you want to know how you could potentially improve your team, this is the way to do it. So we're going to get into that right now. Okay, Abdul. So here they are on screen, your recommended transfers. There are 3 of them, and they are Saliba, Nkunku, and Watkins, all out for Robertson, De Bruyne, and Chris Wood. What do you think?
That's quite differential. If I was building like a differential team, that would be good. But nah, I'm definitely happy with my original picks for sure.
What do you think about De Bruyne? Do you think he's gonna go? Do you think he's gonna start the season?
Well, Pep's already said he's staying.
Has he said he's staying?
Yeah, he said he's staying. I've seen it this morning. So there was links to him going to Saudi, but I just think Pep, like De Bruyne is a world class player. He's won Premier League greats, but he's at an age now where I think, he's not going to be playing as many minutes as as he has in previous seasons. And I think Foden at the same price is probably better. So I don't really see me having Kevin De Bruyne at all this season. At any point. I just think he's kind of on the decline in terms of an FPL asset for sure.
I think, to be fair, maybe the AI is getting at the fact that you have no Man City attackers, which is a pretty crazy thing. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to have any, I don't think. If you have no Haaland and you're favouring a Saka over a Foden or a De Bruyne or someone like that, then there is no space for a City attacker from Game Week 1. The best attacking team in the league.
Yeah, I've already got one City attack, but I've got Guardiola.
That's true. That's very, very true. That is, yeah. He was their best attacker at the back end of last year.
He was.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Okay, so that is it for your AI recommended transfers. Take them or leave them, whatever. It's just an insight. Chris Wood is an interesting one. A lot of people aren't really talking about him, but the fixtures for Nottingham Forest are very good at the start of the season. And if we think he's going to start, which I think he is, could do well.
Because I think Awani didn't join the tour in Spain, and I think he joined later on, so he's looking kind of fit now. I think if Awani's fit, then there's a lot of doubt around Wood. But if Awani's not there, like there was at a point in last season, like at the end of last season, where he wasn't, and Chris would have been, started all the games and scoring really well. But yeah, I just think with Awani there is a lot of doubt around him. So that otherwise, if he was nailed, he'd be there instead of Armstrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that is going to do it for your team. Guys, if you would like to get your own personalized AI recommended transfers for your individual team, sign up to Fantasy Football Hub today. It's 50% off right now. It's the best time of the season to sign up. Pre-season, you get the most for your money because obviously the subscription lasts across the whole season. You get stuff like this, AI recommended transfers, all the My Team stuff with a lot more data, all the Opta stuff. You get access to articles and team reveals from people like FPL Salah in the run-up to Game Week 1. So you know what they're going to do come deadline. And yeah, it is the best thing to do, isn't it, Abdul? What have I missed there? Is there anything else I've missed? I've said about 5 things. There's about 20 to 30 things.
Yeah, when you're rattling through them, I was like, well, I forgot most of those things. So yeah, good reminder for me as well. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, before we round things off, you're obviously an esteemed legendary FPL manager. So I must ask you your thoughts on the new rules, the new transfers, a little mention on the bonus. How do you think it's going to affect your game?
Right, so when I first heard about the transfers, I thought, oh, amazing. I was really excited. And I think it is a good change. However, I'm just kind of skeptical about how many times a season we're actually going to be able to save more than like two or three transfers. I just think, yourself within FPL, Jack, there's so much that happens, with injuries and, the landscape changing. I think a lot of managers will struggle to actually, keep hold of more than, past two or three transfers, unless you actively try and do it, which might be, kind of suboptimal. It might be,
Yeah.
more of a detriment. So I don't know. I think in theory it sounds good. I don't know how it'll work out practically, and I don't think it'll change much in how I play. I think the only thing it'll change, like, if I'm, looking to burn a transfer, I don't need to, make that, that move, that, for example, in previous seasons we've seen, making like moves like taking out your 4.5 million goalkeeper for your backup keeper for another keeper because you've got no moves to make, but now you can just save it. So it's good for that. But how many times are we actually going to have that in a season? I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. And then in terms of the new bonus rules as well, does that make certain players less viable?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, the bonus changes that most of them I was quite for, like, the plus BPS for shots on target. And the one I wasn't too happy with was the defenders. I thought that was really harsh with the
Yeah.
-4 BPS for, for every goal conceded, by the way. It's not just the one goal conceded. So it just makes, players like Porro, Trent, attacking defenders like a bit less kind of attractive. I don't think that would kind of change how I play the game though. I think mostly, if you look over the season, you're probably talking about maybe 5 to 10 points different, for certain players. I think the goalkeeper one is random where, you get 10 points for a goal. I mean, I think it's fair, but I just thought it was random that they done that. And
What is the point of that?
yeah, it's just
Bit
like, how
weird.
often do you get a goalkeeper goal? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think overall the rules are positive, and I think it hopefully should make the game better.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you very much as always, Abdul. We'll get you back on before game week 1 to get more of a final team. I mean, who knows? It could even change after that. There's anything could happen in preseason, but yeah, probably more of an indication of what sort of side you're going to end up going with
Mhm.
closer to the deadline. And then, of course, after that, every week, Abdul will be on revealing his team and thoughts pre every deadline. Okay, my friend. Thank you very much. Good
Cheers, man.
luck over the next few weeks before we see you again.
You
And
too.
yeah, guys, remember, once again, click the link in the description, sign up to Fantasy Football Hub today.